Hello, all of you risk takers and truth seekers to Podcast Life, the battlefield. Today, we're going to traverse from victim to victor with a truly unique guest of mine. And you know what, boys and girls, today you're going to learn what is a true courage. Yes, all of you who think you are strong, you are invincible, alpha males particularly. But today we are going to talk about our sexuality, okay? Today we're going to talk with a true expert, somebody who travels from victim to victor. My guest, Kate in studio. Kate, welcome to the studio today.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
No, look, I was like, okay, let's go make it chaos day. Let's go make it
do
chaos.
it.
Let's go do it. Yeah, I mean, like today I was chasing to talk to you. Like, you know, I'm the professional stalker, guys, you know. Feel free to leave in comment section below if you believe I am. But I chased Katelin on internet. So look, let's go start with this of your traversing from victim to victim, your trials and tribulations. On your website, it says this one: having triumphed over my personal hardships, I consider it's privilege to share my wisdom with people across the globe. Mic is yours.
I think one of the biggest things and bigger topics at the moment is mental health. And so many people have, experiences that have gone through it. So something I was really passionate about was knowing that I went through my own troubles when, COVID, that lovely word that we all love and can breathe. It's like, triggering. Yeah. So that was a place where everyone was really struggling.
Yes.
And it probably was the lowest lows and the highest highs, because I was at a point where I was like, I'm done with my life. And that part, it was weird because I actually had a moment where in that, it was like a message saying, you know what, Katelin, you have got so much more to live. And it's amazing what messages come through when you have those moments and you just think and you go overwhelmed. You're like, wow, something is happening here for a reason. And you never wish upon bad experiences, but I feel like every time someone has a rock bottom, something better is to come. So I obviously hit my rock bottom, and I knew from there that something bigger was to come. I didn't know what. I was a bit clueless in that moment. Yeah. But then when I came back from flying from London to Australia, I had to do hotel quarantine.
Congratulations. That's like, how much your ticket was cost, like $1 million or something?
Oh, well, I don't like to prowl on this, but unfortunately my only way to get home was business class. So I had to fly home business class. So there goes all my money out the window. Yeah. And then 14 days in a hotel with no fresh air. And my system sort of changed. So my anxiety went through a different sort of correlation. I thought I had PTSD, and then my doctor said, no, you got disorientated anxiety. It just kept going and moving. So I felt like I was in prison confinement. It was just like, it was a whole entity. But in the end, I know now from the growth that I've been able to establish with my anxiety, I've got so much more compassion for other people, because I was trying to explain to people what was going on and people didn't understand. People were like, what do you mean? Like the room's moving. Yeah. What do you mean that you're feeling this way? I was like, well, it is. And I don't know how else to explain it. So from those moments, I really then had an eye-opener of going, wow, I really need to help other people. Because I was already confident beforehand. Yeah. So I already felt good. Something shaking my body, and now I have more empathy for other people. So we all have a story, and I've always said to everyone, your story is never boring. Like, you've got a uniqueness to it, and you always have a special way of telling it, and I think it's important that everyone knows your story. So that's why I want to help people to speak up, to share, to feel confident in themselves, and to feel a bit turned on as well.
Okay, so tonight we're going to come to this one. Guys, I know you're scratching, when's going to come the hot, spicy parts, but we're going to come to this one. It is difficult to anybody understand and comprehend what is the 14 days to be in confined space. Mm-hmm. First of all, I do not, personally from my experience, and I led quite interesting life, and part of this was my military life, 14 years, and I knew straight away something was odd, because you can't put people in quarantine for 14 days and expect they're going to be either sick or going to be healthy, because one thing is going to play to their mind. So do you mind just to share with us, what does it look like 14 days in quarantine, right? When you see that everybody around you walks in these paper masks, there's not even a hazmat suit, and you're getting all that stupid TV programs, How did you feel, or how do you know the experience of other people around you in these rooms? Did you have a secret tap on the walls?
Oh, it's fascinating. I'm more than comfortable to talk about it, but every time this story comes up, I still get triggered. So
okay, let's go not talk this then.
No, it's all good. It's better. I always find that the best way to do things is to talk through things. So I think it's one of the best things that people can do is talk therapy and just talking things out.
Yes.
So I know being a teacher in the past,
Yes.
I knew that I had to investigate and plan this in advance. And I thought, how am I meant to entertain myself and figure this out for 14 days?
Yeah.
So I made sure that I planned like a little timetable for myself. And I was
Yes.
like, okay, from these hours, I'm going to, get up, have a slow breakfast, make sure that I don't stay on my bed. But the only thing that was struggle was having jet lag and not having fresh air, because that actually helps you move forward and, go about your day. So being confined, so those first couple of days were really like woozy and you just didn't know where your bearings are and you kind of had to push through. A lot of mind over matter there. But then it just got to a point where you just had to keep pushing forward. You just had to keep sort of counting down the days and knowing that you've got that end goal. I feel like it wasn't during it that was the issue, despite the terrible food that was served. The slot was just terrible. I believe it was actually when I left. That part for me was sort of concerning for myself, because that's where it all triggered, was when your nervous system goes into fight or flight, you normally have a little bit of a feeling or understanding of it. And I thought going into it, I thought my anxiety would trigger, but it didn't. Yeah. When I left, having all the senses of all my 5 senses ignited, as soon as I got fresh air, the sounds, my parents running at me, hugging me, all my senses just got super overwhelmed. And deep down, I know I didn't actually want to be home. I wanted to stay in London because I loved it there. So that part for me was already like, oh, I didn't actually want to be home, but I had no choice to extend my visa and whatnot. So ideally, I then just said to myself, what's going on? Something doesn't feel right. I should feel amazing that my parents are hugging me right now. I should feel the love. I should feel the excitement. But I didn't. And it just all sort of came at once, and then it just kept piling up and getting worse and worse, because clearly I wasn't ready to be home. Clearly deep down I just felt like I was coming back to all that past trauma that I never worked through, and it was like this avalanche of just everything coming at once. So
let's go on the brighter side now. Before the COVID,
100%.
right? Brighter side. It's you. You were the teacher, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just in conversation with you right now, like, being teacher, like, brings me back my memories from my childhood, because we all have the teacher, like, all, fantasies about teachers. But you said you volunteered in Vietnam, where you discovered the beauty of cultural exchange. Can you just bring us there? What happened in Vietnam, and what was that cultural exchange? What does beautiful side of that it is?
Yeah, I think one of the most beautiful things about this world is that each country has its own gifts. And I think one of the things that I wanted to do was know that we've all got our own talents. And I wanted to provide, the education to other people. Yeah. And, I've always been a travel bug, so anywhere in the world, I'm like, take me there. But I just knew that helping others in a way was important, but also reminding us of how grateful we are with our own lives and how pure happiness comes from the most basic needs. And I got reminded of that being in Vietnam, that they are just walking around with their smiles on their faces with whatever they have. And it is the most beautiful thing to see. And just being around that grounded me even more so to be like, wow, I don't need all this extra material things that we do have, and we get so caught up in that because we think that that's our prize of success and achievement. But just having that gratitude moment of just going back to the basics and going, wow, pure happiness just comes from within, and just being surrounded with those right people.
It's interesting. I had that feeling in Fiji. I was there just on a New Year's Eve before the COVID, was declared 2020. And then I couldn't even understand why the people on Fiji, everybody's so happy, smiling. I mean, like, what's wrong with you guys? Why are you so happy? And I mean, like, what drugs you take? And it's like, well. And then you realize that actually, as you say, it's not necessary always to have this materialistic possessions, me to be happy. And I think that's our biggest actually disadvantage. We think that we're going to be happy, we have things, but we don't learn to be happy with ourselves. Gratitude. What is a gratitude for you? You mentioned this now in conversation. So what's gratitude for you?
Gratitude is something that I actually believe has saved me for a lot of reasons. I think it's important that the biggest gratitude is just having, looking in yourself and going, what do I have around me already, rather than trying to want more and feeling less of yourself. Yeah. So I always am grateful for who I am and who I'm becoming and what resources I have around me to be able to learn. We're so blessed with social media and podcasting that it just innately gives you all that free, way to connect. But how do you connect to yourself in your own time? How do you take the time to slow down and realize the beauty of yourself? I don't know, so some men that I work with, they're like, what do you mean slow down? Like, Katelin, geez, we're always hustle. And I was like, no, I get that. But even just going for a walk, and I know a lot of people talk about nature, but do you actually take the time to look at what is on that walk? Do you actually take a look at the details? Do you actually pick up a leaf and actually feel the texture? Just for that split second, that really gives you into that wholesome state of being grateful because you're present right in that moment.
I was reading, I wasn't preparing myself for that statement right today, but otherwise I will do it. But I know that I read it recently somewhere that when we walk on the street in the city, we always look in the street. I mean, nobody looks the sky, the buildings up. And we never see that blue sky, actually. And I was like, that's very interesting. That's actually, it is true because we're always looking down in front of ourselves. And you said when we go for the walk in nature, how much nature actually we see, and we don't doing these things. So, direct question: why are you willing to share your story with the world? Why aren't you afraid to share your trials and tribulations?
I feel like one of the best things is backing yourself, and knowing that you have your own unique journey, and I feel like for me, it's not that this is luck. It's not that I've just woken up and been confident. I've had to work
like
on.
Honesty. Yeah.
It's a skill. You have to consistently show up.
Yeah.
Whether it's within your family, having those uncomfortable conversations, and man, have I had them.
Yeah.
Being able to speak up to friends and really going through those problems of going, okay, there's an issue here. We need to solve this.
Yeah.
Being able to network and get out of your comfort zone and actually meet new people. But that's one of my favorite things to do. I love meeting new people.
Okay.
But that's obviously a gift that I know about myself. And the thing that comes down to, being confident and being about yourself, and as you said, sharing your story, is just, it's going to sound so cringy for a lot of people, but it's really about falling in love with yourself, because you have the longest relationship with yourself. Despite what partner you're with, despite what family members, you spend the most time with yourself. So if you do not fall in love with yourself, you're going to have a pretty shitty life for the rest of the run. You need to be able to understand that if you can connect with yourself more than ever and tell your story and show up as you, then you've got this real beautiful connection within that.
You said something very interesting. Okay. This is the very first time I heard somebody ever say that statement. You need to fall in love with yourself, right? Why we don't falling in love with ourselves? Why we are humans fall in love, I don't know, with a woman or with a man or whatever preference somebody has, a midgets or unicorns, whatever, I don't care. But the thing it is, why we forgetting to fall in love with ourselves?
Because, it's a really good question. We definitely are having the responsibility onto other people.
Yeah.
So we seek validation from other people. And we've done that for such a long time. Whenever we were kids, what does the teacher want? What do our parents want? We never knew what we wanted because we were trying to figure out from other people and what we were told to do and how we would do it. Now coming into adulthood or teenager world, if you want to start there, that's a great place to start. But teenagers think that the world does revolve around them anyway. So they just need a bit of maturity around that. But when you go into your adulthood, that is the time to actually make the decisions for yourself, to really think about the beliefs that you have in the past and think, is that something I want to follow on from? Is that something I want to continue on? Because you're creating that whole pathway for yourself now. You were conditioned at the beginning part of your life by other people. You need to condition yourself on how you want to live the rest of your life.
That's very interesting, yeah. I'm glad that you're here today. Seriously, I'm very thankful that you come on Monday morning in my studio to talk to me, because in the world we're living, it's like a competition who's going to screw up the better life of everybody, right? You say something, you spend 14 days in prison, because I can't describe differently than hotel quarantine as a prison. And that's I think the people who decide to run this 14-day quarantine, it's criminals. They're uneducated criminals. I can't call this differently. But you survive. You show that you have the more courage and balls than most of the men I will know, right? But at the same token, you speak so freely and so effortlessly, about yourself. You don't say, look at me, I'm the greatest one, I had my mistakes. Is that the reason why you become the female entrepreneur coach? Yeah,
so I knew that being a teacher in the past, that I always had this question of being like, I want to educate, but I didn't know what it was. So I thought, go into teaching, I'll do that.
So it was just so curious, what were you teacher of?
So I used to do primary, and then I went to high school.
Okay.
So I transitioned from primary to high school. I knew with primary I could only do so much with them, the little ones.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I transitioned to high school, I knew that something was different, because I actually was a life design teacher. So that's where you actually help kids with their passion and purpose in life. So instead of, that they have this overwhelming thought of like, what do I do with my life? Well, we actually navigate them and help them through and just really figure out that purpose piece. And that's something that's really important for a lot of people. And I know some people are still trying to find it.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine, as long as you're curious, as long as you're wondering.
Yeah.
But as I was doing this, I was actually promoting on the side about what females really need to know, because I felt like I was hitting a brick wall with the education system. I was asking higher up, I was asking all the leaders, I was like, we have to teach them this. And they kept saying no.
And they told you,
kept saying,
don't
yes,
you dare. We know the better. And you're like, who are you?
Exactly. So I then thought, you know what? I'm going to put this out there, stuff all the reviews and what people are saying, I'm going to push through. But then the tricky part is that I was still teaching at the time whilst posting on social media with the content and the topics that I was doing. So I'm someone who is very straight to the point, because I'm sick of people sugarcoating it, because we're actually saving people by telling the truth, because the most biggest incidents of the topics that I talk about are the hardest things that could fall. Yeah. So if we don't open up the conversation and provide a safety net for them, then they're just going to experiment, explore, and be in this big unknown. And that's what I didn't want people to be in limbo. So the only issue was when I was teaching and I was doing all the videos on the side, the classic education system of the Catholic religion faith, didn't agree with what I was doing. So
Surprise there. Are you a bit surprising?
I knew that something was going to come.
Yes.
But I just didn't appreciate the way that it unfolded. So I think that the universe was definitely pushing me to go, Katelin, you need to get out. You need to get out and speak more, because you're restricted in this space. So I resigned on the spot. I was like, I'm out. See you later. I'm going to go take this full time.
That's what I'm talking about. So you wanted to make it, I'll call this, generally speaking, life better of people around you, right? But then you're not good for the education where you are being trained and educated to become the teacher, right? They told you literally, there's a door, but you say like, I'll open the door for myself, so take you stay there, Dylan. That's the courage. That's the courage. Most of the people are going to stay on their workplace forever because they have no balls, honestly. And, I say this from my experience, because when I was in a war, like I saw this alpha male at the beginning of the war, big talks, and then when the shooting started, the whole mummies, aunties, and they run away literally, and the average Joe stay in the war. Now, you confirm this, what I'm saying, that people like yourself actually more in the world. So, you resigned. No more nuns, no more priests, no more Catholics. What was your next step?
I knew that because I was still in high school, I thought teenagers need to know all this. So I started doing
They
my
need to
own.
know all of this. What?
Sorry.
What teenager need to know? Okay.
So I knew that teenage girls needed confidence.
Yes.
They also were going through, normal female things, which is periods.
Yeah.
They also were curious because they were so caught up in relationships and they wanted relationships, and then obviously with relationships when it comes to sex. So I knew that this is a thing that people needed to know, in particular teenage girls. So I started doing parent seminars. I'm like, well, I can't just go to the girls. I need to navigate through this and talk to the parents.
Yes.
But I never had issues talking to parents because as a teacher, you do parent-teacher interviews, and I've always just spoke my truth and straight to the point. But
or did you build the big posters like, "Hello, parents, let's go talk about periods"? You know what I mean?
no, I had to swerve it a little bit. I had to kind of get them in. So once they're in, then
see, this is what I say. Yeah.
This is the marketing game there. But so I pretty
It's
much
a school after all. Yeah.
So I started with how to reconnect with your teenage daughter because I know that there's a big gap in parents not knowing what to do for their daughter, and there's this big gap, and they're thinking, how do I connect with my daughter? She's going through all this and I want her to feel comfortable to talk about this. So I started with parent seminars and I thought, well, this is really good, but something's still missing. Something is just not right. So then I spoke to my local gym person. I thought, I want to do like a female empowerment event. I just want women to come so I can just speak freely and just open up and just create the space. And as soon as I had women, so obviously a bit older women, I knew that there was something there. I knew that I was like, wow, okay. I got a real impact out myself. I could speak more. I wasn't confined because, bless my dad, when we're doing the parent seminars, he's like, Katelin, you can't talk about this, this, and this because it's parents. I'm like, I'm getting restricted already. And it's like, what? I don't want to be restricted. So then that's where I thought, well, the older market is probably an area that I would focus on.
Yeah.
And then my content was just like, well, I'm going to be straight to the point. I'm going to talk more about sex. I'm going to talk more about periods. And it was kind of conflicting because some people were like, wait, what are you doing? Teenagers or women? Like, where are you going there? So I thought, well, I'll stick to women. Mm-hmm. But then I had these messages from men being like, Katelin, I love what you're doing. Do you think...
So men comes... Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's
I know. I love what you do, but do you think you could do a male side of this? And I thought, wait, what? Men want me to do a male side of this? Okay, sure.
Male side of what?
So obviously sex was a conversation they wanted
Let's
me to talk about.
Sex, baby. Okay.
Obviously.
So it's a sexual. So like, can I just drop you back?
Absolutely.
Well, you said something about periods. Periods leads into the sexual encounters, you know what I mean, the whatever it is. Why we don't learn more, or the girls in school learn more about periods, or why is it becomes still taboo topic in society? Why is this taboo topic? I'm the male, so like, I don't know much about, after 2 marriages, but still I have a son, you know what I mean? So like, why the periods or the menstrual cycle, whatever it's calling, it's a still taboo topic in society. You're smiling. So help to understand every man, every possible father.
And the reason why I'm smiling is because I love that you're even willing to just have the conversation about it.
Absolutely, yes.
Because it is something that I'm really trying to push down on, because if we're being so logical here, women cannot get rid of their cycle. It is a part of them. So we need to understand it. Okay. We need to know that it's happening. It's flowing. It's going. Yes. So we need to understand that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But the thing that people don't understand is we get educated that it's just 1 week where a woman bleeds. But it's 4 weeks that a woman goes through a cycle. I know your mind was just like, wait, what?
Okay.
The thing that with a cycle is our hormones change because of the reproductive system or what's happening.
Okay.
So obviously we have the 1 week where we bleed. Then we go into the follicular stage, which is pretty much where it's like a restart. This is where women will start to feel pretty good, and they will start to feel like they want to go out a bit more.
Okay.
Then the second week is ovulation. Now this week is the be careful week, because a woman's going to pounce on you because everything is high for the sex drive up here because the egg is getting ready to be fertilized. So this is a week that people can get pregnant and they can actually have a baby. So it's interesting because women have a high sex drive during this week, and then they're also trying to be safe at the same time.
Yeah.
A man's probably going to be like, hell yeah, I love my woman this week because she's ready to go.
Yeah.
So that week is just more of a, men are like, oh, she's in a good spirit, amazing. That's ovulation week. And then the week after is actually luteal phase. Now, your lady might be feeling down about herself. She might be feeling really low. She might have low energy. That's because we're transitioning back into the period cycle. So you might have it that week. You're like, oh my goodness, my woman just isn't herself. Like she's tired. So it all plays into that count effect. That is why we need to understand that each week is important, because if you're in a relationship with them, you can have different types of sex that go with each week. You can also understand of how to, for women, eat properly, exercise properly, so that you can balance out exactly what's happening. And then you can understand, okay, I'm clearly in my luteal phase the week before the period. I'm feeling a bit tired. Okay, don't be too hard on yourself. That's going to help with your mindset. So the reason why it's so important, and I just gave that bit of explanation about the cycle, is because when people know about it, they feel so much more connected. They can plan things with their life. They can, talk and communicate with their partner. It actually enhances you so much more confidently about yourself. Like, transparent, this week I'm in my period week, but I know that I can still show up, I can still do what I'm doing, and I can still be confident about what's going on. The more that we just open up about it, the more that we can actually be confident in ourselves. And if anything, the more that we have the conversation, the less likely a woman feels down about herself. Because the more that we hide it and suppress it, then a woman feels shameful when she has it. She doesn't want to go out. She doesn't feel comfortable. She won't go to the beach. She won't have all these things because she feels that she's something of the wrong. She feels that she's shameful because she has this part of her cycle. And that does come down to how parents talk to their daughters about periods and open up the conversation. And the more that we just allow them to know that it's a part of our body and it's a natural way.
I'm glad. You know what? I'm glad, Katelin, you talk about this one. Even I'm the man, right? I have nothing. I don't know nothing about periods. I've been married. I've been in relationships, so I can know that first week. But boys, I have the golden nugget here. I pull it out of the entire conversation for the all males. So the second week, it's a key for success with your ladies, right? If I'm correct, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so after first week, periods, second week, it's an egg and becomes the bang bang time. Shut me down. So guys, just review that back. But thank you for clearing up for all of us, even for the male society, that there's a 4 weeks of the transition from periods to periods, right? It's not just as we know, as being taught, 21 days it's cycle, whatever it is, nothing. Then 7 days what's it calling, the periods. At least I remember this from the school, right?
Yeah, and I was going to say as well, one of the things for men is they can actually, if they have a woman that is very in tune with their cycle, they don't have to wait for the 1 to 2 weeks after.
Yeah.
They actually can have a real beautiful moment with the other weeks. It just might be the tempo, the pace, the style might have to change a little bit, or they might need a longer warm-up. So it definitely has its way, and that's why for those men out there, if you have your lady connected and understanding of it and they can communicate to you, you just get a whole versatility of
Nobody
goodness.
talks about this. It's like everybody talks about relationship itself, how to date somebody, why to say some things, why to open the door, and all these things transition. But in hindsight, actually, it's our body. It's an entire tool when it comes to dating, sex, life, the family, everything else, and nobody talks about this one. So, what is the reciprocity of the society towards your speaking and educating about periods to young ladies or the women? What is the reciprocity? You have the good response of the society, or?
Yeah, I definitely have. For the period stuff, a lot of women are thankful, and I take the piss out of myself. I just get on there and make fun. I'm not there always to be super serious because you have to have entertainment with it. So some of the videos that I do are just a little bit out there, but I love that because people then know that if I'm being out there, then it's more comfortable for them to be in their moment as well. So I know that women really appreciate And there is some conversations that are starting, and there's amazing companies that are doing the work, but it's the solo experience of how women go through this. And I know that it's not just periods. It's then women after that go through menopause, and that's a whole different conversation. Again, their hormones are going to change again. They're going to have sporadic moments, and that is something that is on later life as well. So women have all these different pathways, and it's consistently in their mind of what is going on. So subconsciously they're thinking, okay, I'm present here, I'm talking, but I've got all these feelings and emotions that are happening in my body, and I'm trying to be present, but I'm overwhelmed. So it's like for a man, if they're extremely overwhelmed and a woman's trying to talk to them and they're like, I just can't handle this at the moment. That's what it's like for a woman going through her cycle, but just more, you physically feel it and you feel all the pains and the suffering that are going through it.
I'll give you credit for something. Maybe you didn't know this. Maybe you did, but I'll tell you something from my personal experience. And it's easy to talk theory, to be great orator, you know what I mean? The Socrates, Plato, whatever you want to be, Julius Caesar. It's easy to bullshit about stoicism, the hardships and everything else. But one thing what you displaying today, there's not many coaches will ever dare to display. And I'll tell you exactly what that it is. Everybody knows how to say what to do, when to do, with what to do, why to do. But not many can demonstrate how. And me as man from the uniform, every my instructor before I become somebody who needs to instruct others, I need to be shown how physically and in their example. And that's what you're doing today. So guys, I'm going to put the comment section below the all Katelin details, contact her, and that's what is guaranteed that you're going to be successful in what Katelin she's preaching, because she's using her body, her experience, her life, not just a blah, 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 and, and just come to me, pay me money, and, I just do talk about periods, but this woman, she knows what she's talking about. And that's, I'm saluting you, because I was listening to you, and you displaying how. And not many coaches doing this. And as I said, I can make a fun of all of them, because it's like, honestly, it's like when you ask somebody to say how about periods, I can't talk about periods. I don't laugh about periods. I mean, I know something from school, but you can, because you say, this is my experience as a woman, as a teacher, as a this and that. So you can display this one. So from periods, you become the coach in then some other things, right? That's our sexuality, right?
Yeah, so I call myself...
Some natural transitional...
So I started calling myself a female empowerment coach, but then I
That's
realised
correct, yes.
that not only that, but I found that a lot of people were tuning into my sex conversations a lot more. So that's why I now say...
smirk on your face. Something's there.
I now say that obviously I'm now a sexual empowerment coach.
Sexual empowerment coach, yeah.
This for me is not just solely about sex. Obviously, there's benefits there. But it definitely encounters with feeling good about yourself, because we can be confident, but if we're sexy confident, that's a good turn on. And that's something that's important, that we feel so much more about ourselves. I know it's going to sound wacky, but I can have a cup of tea in the morning and I can turn myself on. And I don't need any stimulation by certain things. I know that I feel so confident about myself that that's all that matters, is I just need to... be lit up on my own life and feel, it's not just gratitude, it's feeling actual physically turned on as well. So that part is where all the spiciness comes from as well.
So I have a simple question, right? People love sexuality, right? Like porn, whatever, the movies, chit-chat behind the closed doors, right? But you are actually doing this, right? And how difficult is for the person like yourself to talk about sexuality?
It's not actually difficult. I think that one of the things I've always worked out is I've always been curious.
Curious, okay.
I've always wondered more about it. And I've done a lot of personal development sort of on myself and being understanding of what is the true meaning of sex for people. And when it comes down to for a female, why is it that we're so much more in our heads when we're in the moment and not actually connecting? And, we're feeling it, but we're not actually feeling it. And then that's when I learned a lot about the masculine and feminine energy and how they can actually connect together.
Okay.
But a lot of women are, and especially in this century, are stuck in their masculine. Hence why men are going, I'm confused right now. I can't find a woman.
Confused like us.
I'm finding women that are super independent and they're too confident and it's intimidating. And don't get me wrong, I get told that a lot. But women need to soften. Women need to create that time of just being themselves by being in their feminine energy, because as soon as we connect, then a male can lead. A male can, dominate in that space and being able to get the warmth and the softness from a female. Doesn't mean that you can't still be dominant and, changing it up between the two of you. But women get so caught up in their own heads because they've got to think about their cycle. They've got to think about where they are, if they're in a good relationship, if they want to be pregnant or not, and because they're the ones that are going to have to carry the baby, of course. And then you got to think about, okay, what am I doing next? Where I believe, and I know that men have performance anxiety, but I know that men can be so much more present because they're in the moment of being like, I know what I need to do to fulfill the moment. But for women, it takes longer. A man can warm up in 30 seconds, but a woman takes on average around 30 minutes.
So what do you say? Warm up 30 seconds.
So a man takes 30 seconds to warm up.
What do you mean warm?
On average. So to get turned on, to get stimulated.
30 seconds.
To feel good.
Okay, that's interesting.
But for a female, it's about 30 minutes.
Come
Sometimes
on.
even 45.
Come on, seriously.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really, really turned on. Because what happens is for a female, some men, okay, I'm going to get a bit juicy here.
Feel free.
Some men will think that a woman is wet and aroused downstairs, but that's not her arousal. That's actually just mucus that's actually just sitting there. So a woman needs to be fully relaxed and fully ready to be able to receive. So the sooner that she's in her feminine energy, the quicker that, which I can give tips on and tricks, the quicker that they can get into their bodies and out of their heads, the more connected they're going to feel with their partner. So that's where I really want to help women, because it takes so much layers to get down to being present in the moment so they can enjoy it. Otherwise, they're feeling it.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
And they're not actually feeling it though.
Feeling but not feeling. Can we blame society and social media for creating that superwoman? I'm independent. I don't need a man. Everything else.
Absolutely.
And you said the man, it's actually confused. I'll share something with you. Last week, I went in Manly for the lunch. Long story short, I saw all these girls, in their 20s, like a sardines, and the boys are passing them and nobody looks at them, right? And I think myself like, when I was a teenager, right, in those age, Jesus, my ass is like a magnet, like just fantasies and everything else. And you couldn't care less. She look at you like she said, what are you doing? Something changed. Now I'm getting this, there's a less attractiveness between the male and female. So I think myself, why is that? Maybe it's because the social media gives now more instant satisfaction. You can go that artificial intelligence, the metaverse, or you can go in a Tinder, you can do this, you can pick and choose. And there's no more anymore this attractiveness between the two sexes, male and female. Am I wrong or right?
No, you're right. There's a lot more confusion. And it's not that I'm trying to say that people can't choose how they love people. Like you choose that style. That's not the issue here.
No.
What is the issue is that we obviously have a higher demand of the financial pressure.
Okay.
And females are feeling that they need to also provide and get to that point. Now, obviously, everyone's situation is their own situation, and I respect that there are some amazing single mums out there, single dads. Like, everyone's got their own position that they have to do.
Yes.
But what the thing is, it's not about, being and succeeding. It's about your energy on how you do the everyday task.
Yes.
That is the issue that people are doing, is women have to be masculine to get stuff done. Otherwise, we're going to be airy-fairy and be like, oh, everything's coming to us. So there's some moments where...
I just like to say this.
we have to be some form of masculine, but our percentage is too high. We're doing huge hours where we should be getting rest, because our cycle and our system needs rest to be able to recuperate and get ready for the next week. We need to be, obviously, everyone needs to eat properly, but the thing that we need to do is how we go about our everyday things. So, for example, let's just say the housework, chores. If a woman's in a masculine energy and she's just macho soldiering, cha-cha-cha-cha-cha, then she's not actually
I'm
giving
laughing because how
herself...
you say this, he's like...
She's not actually giving herself a break.
Yeah.
And she's burning so much more energy that she's then not going to be there for a partner.
Yeah.
She's then not going to be giving herself love and time. She's then not going to be able to please herself in the bedroom because she's burnt out. So we have to learn how to do things in our feminine energy for females and masculine, obviously, for men. But even sometimes they need to just stop because they'll get super overwhelmed. So that's why warmth of a female just brings them down to sort of having that calming moment. So they all dance between each other. But that's why it's so important that we do just really take on what is it innately in our bodies that we need to do. So the confusion out there is that we've got to just hustle. We've got to keep going. We've got to keep doing all the things that everyone wants us to do. But that's not helping us. We're desiring and doing it for other people and we're showing up for what they want for us. Success comes from how you want it, but it's how you do it in between and enjoying the process as well, because we're going to forget the goals if we don't actually enjoy the steps in between. When it comes to sexuality, though, I think there's a very big, overarching part when it comes to porn and how that has been stimulated. I think the only part that's helped people is the curiosity of what is, because they don't know, but it's how it's done and presented and not showing the connection. And even movies are terrible at showing romance and sex. I don't think
the porn has been made to show the romance. But speaking about porn, that's a question I want to ask you. There's so many so-called experts, particularly male experts, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the bullshit artists, because I will never speak about sexuality, about something if I don't understand the topic, right? So I don't have the masters in sexuality, my masters in intelligence. But the thing is, you are expert. Porn. What is good? What is bad with the porn? How good or bad porn it is for a relationship, or when you're single, or whatever it is.
The interesting part is everyone keeps blaming porn. And I was like, okay, interesting.
Okay.
The biggest issue is that people are just not good at communicating, because there's a deeper layer with this. So if people are watching porn and they're watching porn for a certain reason, they just have a fear of rejection and judgment from telling their partner on what they actually desire. So people can be curious. People can want certain things for themselves. It's important that we communicate that with our partner or what we want. And what happens is if their partner says no, then what do? They go back to porn because well, that was easy because then I can just get, the free access. Yeah. I can just go there and just watch it. But that even with porn is a short fuse. The more that you're consistently self-gratification to yourself, you are creating this short fuse for yourself that you're stuck with this,
okay, that's interesting.
Lasting shorter because it's just this quick adrenaline rush, the dopamine hit, the addiction to it, and that's why it keeps coming around in a cycle, is because they know and they're guaranteed an expectation and an outcome from it. But it's not a deeper connection of what you want. And I know I've been telling men, some of the clients I worked with,
no, it's okay.
They're like, Katelin, I don't want to stop watching porn. I was like, I know.
Yeah.
But there are ways that we can re-teach you and connect to yourself, to your body, to get a deeper connection.
That's interesting, eh?
Because so much of the time we're using external stimulation. And I'm like, you've got a lot of iCloud storage already up there. You don't need to be consistently keep watching, but you need to know your desires are meant to be heard, and even for men. And if they're trying to communicate to their woman, that's when I can come in and actually help for women to relax and be in the moment and understand that what their man is desiring is not the outcome because of porn. They actually want to connect to their partner. But that's where the issue is. They're not communicating. And with that lack of communication, they're then outsourcing and finding other ways. That's why OnlyFans is going crazy again, because it's a new source and
I didn't even know it
stimulation.
existed before. I didn't know it exists because I met somebody actually. I heard OnlyFans. It's like, what is that? Is it some new type, porn website? But actually, it's a very clever being that you put yourself there out, and people subscribe on your content. I'm like, Ah, that's very interesting. Speaking about porn, I do remember as a kid, right? When I was an altar boy, right? And my priest told all our boys, do not do a lot of, literally wanking, right? Because your spine is gonna be dry, or something like don't touch it, right? I know you're gonna laugh this.
All the myths that are coming out.
Yeah, I was like, okay, don't touch it. Then you're like, okay, we still, the backbone, it's like spine is still good there. That's what it is. But joke on the side, from my experience, you said something very interesting, desire, right? How the man will translate his desire, sees in a porn, to his partner.
So that's the thing.
I don't know what your preferences there are, but it's like how the man's gonna come from. So like I saw in a porn, without embarrassment, to tell the partner, I want this, this, and this, and this.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go back. I remember when I wanted many decades ago, right? I was told I'm not your porn star, right? And I'm like, okay, well, this let's go try it. Now it's like I felt embarrassed, ashamed, right? That I was literally having problems, later on to communicate with that person anymore. So how we can translate the desire we see, our imagination we're seeing in porn to desire in a bedroom with our partner.
So the thing that comes down to is there's definitely stages. It's not going to happen straight away.
That's not fair. It's like
no, I know.
No,
but the thing that it's interesting is for men to be able to communicate to their partner, they have to know what words are going to comfort their partner in the conversation, which is something I can definitely help with. I know that for a man, you guys freaking love sex. You are on top of the world when it comes to sex. It's like your domination and it's the forte for you guys. The thing is, you need that need met. You need it. And that's why I do also talk about the period cycle so we can balance that out and work out what week. So if you hit the lady on the ovulation week with that conversation.
You see how you explain is like this is that second week, guys. Go back 20 minutes back in the video, you're going like, hear how the Katelin explained. Yes, sorry. That's a good trick, actually.
Exactly. So when she's in ovulation week, she'll feel more open. Her body will be ready. She'll feel more receptive.
How the man is okay. You see, I have so many questions. Like, please, okay.
I know. That's why it's then understanding that part she'll be ready and roaring. But if deep down, if she hasn't done the work herself, then she's not going to feel confident in wanting to experiment and try. Because sex is a skill. It's not something that we just come together and we're like, bam, we got it. Amazing. Yeah. It's so much more than that. And that's why I know that the skill has to keep progressing. And even for men, that it's still a skill that needs to be worked on. So if you start off with certain parts and experimentation, you gradually build up to what you want. I just guarantee that if you go hot and heavy, you're like, I want to try anal straight away, then they're just going to be like, hell no. Yeah. You got to understand that if you play with it, just gently around, the area, but not even going too hot and heavy straight away. Seeing, feeling, understanding where their body's at. But then maybe a couple of weeks down the track, you might try it again. Okay. So it's not about going, I'm going to completely do this. And that's what too many people do, because I swear this is something very fascinating. But women don't get, it's very unlikely for a woman to get an orgasm just from penetration. They need so much more.
Nuggets.
There is so much more in the body for a female. Because I know for some women, it could be a clit stimulation and a penetration at the same time. Yeah. It could be that they are just clit and then they will connect with you penetration and that could be something, but it's not the full experience. So it depends on the woman and their system and their cycle that they know what connects with it. And then you can understand that if you want to please a woman, then you know her body. And for a man, you know your ways of what you want, you'll obviously communicate to the woman as well. But we get so caught up in telling what people not to do, saying, oh, that hurts, or oh, that's not good.
You see, that's I think,
it's a part of
again,
it.
like you and I can talk because, as I said at the beginning, I admire you because you're using your examples, your education, your life as an example how to do things, right? And I can talk about from my personal experience. And also, sometimes it's better to talk rather than just force things because, obviously going to hit the wall and being rejected. But translation of desire, as I say in the porn, it's not about, forcing things. It's talking to the partner, right? And, doing things slower before you get it, what you wanted to get it, right? I mean, but speaking about this one, I need to ask you because, okay, this is my personal curiosity, right? G-spot, is this true or it's a myth or it's a reality? Is a G-spot exist or it's the biggest bullshit ever?
Oh my God, it exists.
Okay.
The clit is, the clitoris is literally the place that a man needs to get to know because the clit actually comes on the outside. It's like a little bulb that people will see. But it actually, on the inside, it comes out in sort of two little legs that go around the outside of the vagina hole. So you've got internal stimulation and external stimulation. Okay. So that's why some people can get, with penetration, the clitoris on the inside, they can actually hit that spot and it feels good. But that's why some women need the clit stimulation as well as the penetration because it's the inner sensation as well. So it's a combination. But some people may not get that. They just might like the outer experience and it could be sensitive and it could be all these different things. And the feeling of it for each woman is different. And it's not even just that as well. There's also, everyone has...
Some more.
No, there's obviously the erogenous zones. Yeah. So every part of a body, so people might like kissing down the neck or some women may or may not like their breasts in a certain way. But this all comes down to erotic blueprints. I don't know if you've ever heard of these before.
No.
So erotic blueprints is when we were born, we were all born with a type which is called a shapeshifter.
Okay.
Now a shapeshifter has all of these about underneath the bracket. But what happens is over time, our beliefs, our environments, everything changes. So we will probably sway to a different type. The other types of erotic blueprints, one of them is sensual. The other one is sexual. Then there's kinky. And the other one has just slipped my mind. So we've got sensual, erotic, kinky, and then shapeshifter.
Shapeshifter.
So when it comes to these erotic blueprints, there's the other one, energetic. I knew it was going to come to me. So there's 5. So, I'll reiterate. So shapeshifter is all of these combined. So this is what we were born with. Then we've got the sensual. Sensual is when you are really connecting to that person. Okay. So having candles on, making the environment relaxed, making sure that you massages at the beginning, having that sort of real sensual play, that it's slow and do not go straight to the G-spot. That person will not like it.
My God.
It's the teasing, it's the slowness, it's the gradual build-up, and they will communicate to you going, okay, I'm ready, and then you can go to town with sex. Then you got the kinky. These are the ones that love to be chained up, that everyone thinks is, the shameful topics. But trust me, the reason why people are so fearful of the kinky one is because they're living in fear. They think that it's painful. They think that it's the worst thing. You don't know until you try it. And you have to get this exhilaration, this feeling that's never like before, that people need to try and experiment with sort of the pleasure pain side of things. Because your body is like, this feels amazing, but it's kind of like a different edge to it. So kinky has a way that it's not sustainable for the whole duration of time.
Yes.
It's just that exotic sort of feel and that resistance of tease that comes from it. Then obviously you've got the energetic. Now, these people are really just more so connected to you. They're not even interested in the sexual part. They just want to feel connected to your body. Obviously, then that comes back down to massages or just feeling your bodies. So for some people, they might think that it's a little bit hippie. Yes. but they literally just want to be present with you. They really are content. And then they could slowly get back into their sensual, and they really don't think that sex is a big thing for them. So energetic people are just really connected. But everyone thinks that everyone's a sexual blueprint. They just assume. They assume that we all go into sex And we straight away just think, okay, let's just
assumptions don't matter. All. Yeah. I don't want to say the words, but yeah, fuck.
Yeah. We just think straight away from what we've been taught. We kiss, we foreplay, we penetrate. That is the way in the system that what everyone thinks that sex is about. That's why people that are in the industry of porn, they are getting a curiosity and change about it.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm coming in to create a different level of conversation, communication, to create this different experience and the right experience, because everyone has a pleasure map on their bodies. They need to get to know it. They need to understand it so they can connect with them and their partners as well. Because as much as you know yourself, you got to understand that your partner has a different one.
Yeah.
So, for example, I could be a sensual erotic blueprint and you could be kinky. We have to then tie in how we could bring this together. So, for example, the beginning could be, okay, well, if I'm sensual, I need the environment to be good. I don't want the TV on in the background. I need to be ready. Then we
Who
could...
has a TV? Oh, let's... Oh,
trust me, there are so many TVs in rooms.
I'll tell you something later. Okay, finish it, please.
I was going to say, the amount of TVs I've seen, I'm like, get it out.
Yeah.
But then obviously we can get into the kinky, where some people in their relationship, they stop at sensual, they then go to sexual, and then that poor man has missed his own desire of wanting a bit of kinkiness. Yeah. So we have to understand and know each other's erotic blueprints so that we can give each other what we desire.
Yeah.
And also it's about giving love to that person as well. You never want anyone to go through pain. They only want to give you pleasure. So that's why you have to have confidence in yourself, speak up, and enjoy the pleasure that comes from it.
I have the now question for you, okay? Because actually leads me to the question when it's over. But let me connect the TV with you right now, because I have the personal experience with somebody in my past. I was ready. I was always ready.
Yeah, I love it.
But the thing is, I was somebody who was dating, will come in the bed, and I will start blah blah blah. But let me just check this show, right? It's called, I was like 20 years ago, whatever it was, more, right? Some medical show, right? It's Embarrassing Bodies. And that show, Embarrassing Bodies, is not such a good show to watch, maybe before they have sex, right?
I was like, wow, that's a good one.
Oh my God. When people come with the holes on their armpits and then, all these pimples and everything else, and I will be like out of the story, right? I couldn't, right? But sometimes I said to myself, okay, you know what? You want to do this? I'll play a freaking game, right? So I'll wait, my head, And then I realize when she got that message that I'm still too on, even having sex, it was like when it's going to be over. So my question is, why do women in a bed become not so participating in the sex? They become like flat eyes. It's like, oh, where's my cookie? And it's when it's over. So that's this is what I'm relating to TV show, right?
Yeah.
When it's over, because you want a sex, okay, I do it, and it's not right there.
Yeah.
When it's over.
Oh, and I know that so many women say this, and that's where I'm trying to come in and really change this up, because when women are having those experiences, they're clearly not connecting with what they want, because I can guarantee if a woman is turned on, the man is like, hell yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
So I always say that a woman actually needs to instigate and initiate when sex should be on. Know that a man will always instigate when it should be happening, because he'll feel it. He'll be ready. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when a woman is connected, when a woman is understanding of herself and she knows where she's either in her cycle or what's going on and communicates, if she just sort of brain dumps everything in that moment and just going, right, I need to just get everything off my chest. Yeah. Now I'm fully ready. Then you'll find that there's more of a connection piece. A woman has the primal drivers of love and connection. So they really want to feel connected. But in those moments where they're not, they need to speak up and they need to go, okay, right now, something's not right. And I need to stop, and we need to work out how we can get me in the mood.
Yes.
And I'm sure that you'll be on a mission to go, hell yeah, let's get you in the mood. Let's work on what is actually the issue. because straight away she's in her head about something and it's clearly needs to be communicated. Something needs to just come off.
Yes.
And that's what the biggest issue is. Women will just go, okay, they'll feel a little something because you're onto them and you're kissing and it starts to feel a little bit, ooh. And then as soon as you go, this is the biggest thing for men, stop going straight down there and going to town. It's not going to work.
I just love how you say these things. Like, honestly, like I just, you say things without saying things. So like it just, I like it there.
It's so frustrating because for a woman, it's not as hard as what they think. They think, oh God, this is actually harder than what I think it is. We are the women that need the consistent pattern in a spot that feels good and just keep going. As soon as we start to feel good, do not change. Do not change the tempo. Do not change the pattern. Just in that little cycle around the G-spot and keep it there.
Interesting.
As soon as you create that, and because I know that if a woman goes straight into penetration and they're making noise.
Yeah. What does that mean?
It's not
good.
It's not good. Because you'll tell the difference between when they are actually feeling it and when they're not. If they are just sort of making noises that is just they're sort of looking around or they're not, if their head's not going backwards, then they're not really enjoying it.
Okay, see, this I'm going to make a note again, guys. Like if the hair goes backwards, it's
a little things that you pick up on because a woman... It's kind of like they might turn their head to the side and go backwards. So don't go straight away. Oh, my God, the head's
like it must be 90 degrees.
No. They will have this moment where their head goes back and they will really feel because it's like their body's trying to move away from it because it feels so good. But they know that it's pleasurable, so they'll stay there. But for women that are faking it, they will either just be making noise but their head will kind of turn or their eyes will sort of look differently, like at different places. So you've got to know that, noise is really important as well. It is very important for both people to make. But a woman has to make extra noise so that her body will fully relax.
Okay.
So if they're making, I highly encourage women to make as much noise as possible because I know it's going to sound a bit gruesome. You're going to think, what? But when a woman's having a baby, she has to scream really loudly to get it out.
I know that,
because that's opening up and that's relaxing her. Well, not in that moment, but it's relaxing the vaginal walls to open up. Yeah. So if a woman is making noise and she doesn't make that like little noise, that's not going to relax her body. So the more that she is making noise, the more that her body is relaxed and the more that she's enjoying it. So sometimes you might have to make a little bit more noise at the beginning just to sort of get the body hot and heavy.
Yeah.
And then you naturally will just feel the spot. And once you're in that spot, you're feeling good, you communicate it, then go to town, Accelerato, and get the noise going. But some people get so caught up in, I just won't make too much noise. Or if they feel the spot feels good, they don't communicate. They don't speak up and they don't go, that feels good. Yep, keep going. They just, they assume and they think that, they're going to know what's going on. It's like, no, don't assume that this person knows what's going on. Even in a relationship, you have to communicate what is feeling good and what's going on with your body, because otherwise you're not going to know. And you're just going to, and the guy's going to be guessing going, I think this feels good.
You know what it is like, I'm just listening to you like right now and I'm so happy you are here today, right? Because we're going to save a lot of lives today. Seriously. No question asked, because the worst thing it is people go on Google solutions, the answers and anything else, and they don't talk to an expert like yourself, right? And I'm just listening to you, I think myself, my God, I wish, as a teenager, somebody told us all these things. Mm-hmm. But growing up in different situation, different environment, and that way the parents are like a strict, at least in my case, you don't even dare to go that direction. Then, what do you get is the first girl, it's like you have a sex, oh my God, I'm the greatest guy. Few more questions before I let you go, because I have so many questions, but I know you have your life to do as well. Lingerie, number one. Mm-hmm. How clever it is, I'm hearing a lot from my side of people I'm surrounding myself. He said, my wife, she's going to buy lingerie, right? And to spicing our sexual life. And I think myself like, why need to buy lingerie now? Like, don't you? Lingerie, yes, no, when, how?
I love this question.
Why?
So, lingerie.
Yes.
You can go buy the most expensive lingerie, but if you are not feeling sexy within yourself, that's a waste of money. Lingerie is not going to spice up your sex life. It's not what you wear, it's how you feel and how you communicate in that moment. I love lingerie and I think it's so sexy when a woman has it on, but it's also sexy when they can just be in tracky dacks and they can,
I agree with you. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
pop it down and have a good time. So it's not the illusion of it or what it is, and even the way that I present myself in as a sexual empowerment coach, it's not the lingerie, it's how confident you are feeling about yourself. So when people say that they want to spice things up and they get lingerie.
Yeah, but this doesn't make sense. It's just one night, it looks like, I mean, like, that's a very expensive night,
Yes.
Sorry, yeah.
No, but I do believe that it's that beginning phase that they're just admiring that person and their body. But the woman in her mind is thinking, it's because I have this lingerie on, that now you find me attractive. And that part is the issue. It shouldn't just be because of something that all of a sudden my man's now attracted to me because I got lingerie on. No. You wear that lingerie because you feel sexy, girl.
Okay.
Like, don't wait for obviously, yes, men, go buy a lingerie. It's fine. I'm not saying don't buy it. But your woman needs to be feeling sexy within herself to really then accentuate. Because I know that a man loves a confident woman, a happy woman, and when they've got that glow. So when they've got that beautiful body of just they're feeling good about themselves, they're standing in front of you, they're ready to jump on you, that's attractive enough. The lingerie is something that's this, alluring figure because of social media. People are posting photos where couples are in lingerie and they want that and they think that that's the connection and the piece. But most of the time, the lingerie comes off. So you've just spent thousands of dollars on a piece of object that's going to come off anyways.
I don't know where you buy lingerie for thousands of bucks.
Oh, some people do. Some people have a whole collection.
Yeah.
So, but it's not a bad thing to do it. It's a nice gift. It's beautiful, but just make sure that you're checking in with the confidence that your woman is at, because if she's in a real low self-esteem moment and she's not feeling good about herself, that's not the way to pep her up. Compliments, really giving her that time of venting, connection, emotional conversation, that is so much more attractive for a woman. When a man is vulnerable and has deep conversations with her, she'll feel turned on even more so because you gave her that time to speak to her. Rather than going, hey, babe, check this on. Let's say you win it and let's go to town. That isn't going to bring up her confidence. She's then going to think in her mind, okay, I don't really feel confident in my body, but my man wants me to wear this. I'll just put it on. And then even during sex, she's going to be thinking about him the whole time and not about her needs.
You said something at the beginning. You need to fall in love with yourself, right? That's exactly what you're saying. My second question is related to lingerie, but I say something as a man, right? What I'm noticing. When I'm traveling, and I'm traveling quite often, particularly in the Middle East, Dubai and Singapore, I can see all these influences on a pool, and there's a hot girl there on a pool with a hot guy, but the only connection between two of them is taking pictures of each other, right? I don't see the sexual connection whatsoever. Like, I think myself, my God, take that oil, might just rub yourself inside, that's me, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, because I'm 50 years old, obviously my head is different. But the thing is, the only connection is a mobile phone, and that's what I have. Two very good-looking, sexy people, right? And I said to myself, okay, something's wrong. But one thing I'm noticing, when you're in a phase of sort of seduction of the society, the women have a tendency, most of them, to wear the high heels, right? As the life progressing, Japan and all these things, how important it's to women look after, the high heels on, being more seductive by wearing the high heels. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I hate heels. I think they're a pain in the ass. I hate heels. But I understand why.
Okay.
Because a lot of times what happened was women had to feel sort of that tallness. And I know that when a woman wears a heel, that her bum looks nice and peachy because we're all about asses and stuff. Yeah. It's all about this thing of it accentuates the body because the heel brings up the back of the legs and then obviously accentuates all the good parts. But I think for women is that because what people have done so well in the industry of sex is we've associated heels, lingerie as being taboo, naughty. So then we think as soon as we wear it and we're doing it, then it's something naughty, and then that's the only way that we can find ourselves attractive and desirable. This is where the big issue is that we are associating with the taboo topics to feel sexy about ourselves. And that's why some people are struggling to feel sexy about themselves because they think they have to be naughty, they have to be, bound up in chains and all that kind of stuff. No, we need to, I know, I do explain things very funny.
I just love how you say this. You just come out to the blog. Hey, you don't.
That's just me. But sexy is just being confident in yourself. It's really not anything else. All this extra stuff with pleasure toys, with the way that we dress, that is just something that if you want to spice things up, the way to spice things up is being curious and adventuring out and trying things that you do want to try, that, you are curious about. But even the ones that are in fear, then you need to take a little bit slower to get into those moments because you will never know until you try things. But when it comes to the heels, I always go around with things, but when it comes to the heels, I think for women that they're doing it to impress men. They're doing it to get their attention because iconically men have a bit of an immaturity around this. They will go and grab their asses when they're out. They will just have this, touch, and they just have this permission all of a sudden to just think, oh, a woman's in heels, she's asking for it. And some women allow that to happen as well. And that's why I want to protect some women. I know that there are confident women out there that will say to a man, I'm good, thanks, let's talk. That's more attracting to me. But if it's obviously in a relationship, go to town, touch away. But those people that are in heels think that straight away, okay, cool, she's ready for this. Or if her dress low and she shows a bit of cleavage, or if her ass is showing, like all these things have apparently communication signals to men going, hey, she wants it. And that's where it's getting a bit sort of frustrating because we're crossing a line of going, what's negative and what's taboo, and let's just make sexy about confidence. It's no more than what it needs to be. So it's going to take a bit of time to shuffle all this, but...
So how do you help people? Okay, let's go. Try to wrap it up this because otherwise you're never going to go. You're never going to leave. This tool is called Secret Location, but you know where it is. What do you do to help the couples or individuals? What is the areas and how are you helping people? What they can expect? When they, on your website, guys, it's a youthgirlfriend.com.au. I'm going to put a comment section below. Feel free. But there's a on right hand side and bottom it says, let's go start chatting. So I think that's a first step. It's a hardest step to say, hi, my name is Mario, and I wanted my sexual life to be, I don't know, whatever. Porn star, right? I'm just exaggerating, right? But
no.
That's the hardest part to talk to you, right? For me, it was easy because I'm a professional stalker. But jokes aside, so people come on your website, go youthgirlfriend.com.au, start chat. What do you do to help other people? What's your services?
Yeah, and it's not even just that. I have a lot of people message me on Instagram because they see my videos and they think,
I need to ask them
she's very out there with this, but I love it because I give the twists and the turns. And as you've been hearing through this podcast episode, I'm very straightforward with it all. But the thing is, I know that it takes a lot. And I know it takes a big amount of courage to say that, oh my goodness, I actually need help in this area. But all I can reiterate is you're going to get something so much more fulfilling and better when you come and speak to me because I'm going to make sure that we help through this process. Now, the degree of the coaching side of things is I'm more than happy to work through couples. Sometimes I've actually had one part of the couple message me privately and going, I don't want my other partner to know, but can you help me out?
Oh, okay.
And I've always said to them I encourage both, but I respect it, but I always will then educate on the other part for them as well. So for men, I've had men come to me and I've gone, okay, now we need to think of it from a woman's perspective. Let's just do A, B, and C. So I always make sure that I think about the other person in the picture. Yeah. But my focus is really the connection that they have with themselves in that moment. And then I also help women. So I actually do events, so in-person events, and this is where females can actually come out of their comfort zone, and we do a 2-day event, and the next one's coming up is next weekend, which is Dare to Desire.
Okay.
So that's an event that's going to happen every time now. So it's a 2-day event, so women can actually really connect with themselves, their feminine energy, which I mentioned earlier on, really slowing down and connecting and knowing exactly what they desire. And by the end of the event, they'll know and they'll get to go home to their partner and be like, I'm ready for this. I'm so turned on. I cannot wait to experiment this, and this.
I mean, like, I'm very grateful. Seriously, I'm so thankful, Katelin, for you being here today, because it's easy for me to ask the questions. You know, I mean, I'm a little bit uncomfortable around the periods because I don't know periods. I mean, but thank you for this clearing with everybody what it is periods and how important it is and why you want to educate younger generations into that topic. But it's like, I'm grateful that you touching these things, sexuality and sex itself, because I think that COVID changed this landscape in sexuality. As we mentioned, OnlyFans and all these things become available. It's on a screen and it's there. But somehow we forgot to connect with our inner selves, which is, you know, our partner, whatever sexuality it is. So for that one, I just want to, guys, you go on a website, yougoGirlfriend.com.au. There's events Katelin organize. One's come next week. So hopefully we're going to put this out this week so people can join to you. So they can reach you there. I want to ask you a personal question. Okay, so I saw the video last night. On Instagram. It's about you with the dogs and protection in sex, right? You know what I mean? Is this all videos you doing by yourself?
Yeah.
Oh my God! No, seriously, you know the artist. I said, what she's doing with the hat and dogs and obviously condoms, whatever it is. So tell us, why is protection in sex important?
Oh, it's very important. Yes. Because one of the things that people don't realize is it's not only protecting, obviously, from STDs, STIs, all the things that innately could come from us. But deep down, if you have said to someone, you know, can't have a condom or you're on the pill and all these kind of conversations, and they've said yes, but their body's saying no, then they're going to have this real terrible experience. And the whole time that you're having sex, their body's rejecting because you're unprotected. They're worried. They're thinking, oh, my God, if they injected me, then I'm going to have a baby. So their body's like seizing up. So a woman needs to be so sure about the protection, and a man needs to be respectful that a woman has to have that respect as well.
Yes.
Because the more that we just know that no matter what, we are just using the safety, that we are actually taking a long mental health check for ourselves, and you're connecting with more respect. Now, I know that people go, oh, I don't like the feel of condoms and I don't like the feel of all this. Trust me, get some lube, you'll be fine. It's not an issue about how to do it, but I know that there is a longer journey, especially with people contracting STDs, the headspace that people go through, not feeling desirable after that. They just don't feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
And I know that then the next encounter, or if it is their relationship, that they will have this real sort of stuck moment of going, oh, like I want to feel good about myself, but I was worried that, you didn't do this and do that. So it gets too confusing. That's why safety is important, because if you communicate, then you're actually going to have a good experience. But if you're in a real trusting relationship and you're all good and you're happy, then you can have unprotected sex. Yeah. It's just the casual flings, then, you really can catch yourself out in those moments.
Look, I just want to share with you that, that our lives are always unpredictable, right? And we don't know, we have no answers on everything. But I'm glad that people can now reach you, who are unsure about their sexual life or sexual lifestyle, or how to deal with some things that you can share. You share today with us, last question. Okay, so how do you look after your mental health? How do you, you're dealing with our problems, other people's problems, other people's issues. doing the videos, you know what I mean, writing blog, you know, presenting and everything else. How the Katelin looks after her sanity? So every woman can hear this one.
Yeah, of course.
Or maybe men.
No, I think men would be like,
You
what?
want it, I mean, like,
So I think there's definitely a lot that people will suggest and do. But one of the things that I really do is I get to know you first. I'll talk about what I do in a moment. But everyone has their own way of slowing down and connecting with themselves.
Okay.
So for me, my way that I like to slow down is I know that I love to move my body. So I know that I can mix my life with dancing.
okay.
I have been someone that knows how to shake her hips and have a good time. So,
Okay. I'm going to check this laptop.
so whenever I'm doing, let's say, household chores and I'm stuck in my masculine and I'm like, oh, so then I just put on the music and I do the chore, but then I'm sort of moving into that body movement. Now, obviously, men are like, what the hell? I don't want to do that. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate for exercise. I've always been very sportive and active. So that's something I always will do for my body because I know that I feel good after it. Obviously, the food that we eat is very important, but I have yin and yang. I love to go out and have my zik moments, which is eating healthy, and then I have my zag moments.
I don't like how you say something.
And then I have my zag moments where I go out and socialize and drink and, you know, eat the foods that I want to eat. I don't have a good and bad relationship with food. I just make sure that I'm exercising and I'm moving my body and I know that my mental health is good to socialize and get out there.
Yeah.
So that's something I crave is social connection because working on your own is very lonely. So I know that I love connecting with people and getting out and just having the conversations, hence why I'm here and, you know, doing this podcast as well because it's something that's filling my cup as well. But all these things that I'm saying is because I got to know myself. I stopped, I looked, I reflected, I learn about what is it that actually makes me happy? What is the things that fill up my cup? And I know that people can say, oh, I've done meditation, I didn't like it. You're going to hate meditation at the beginning because you're so caught up in your own head. Yeah. You have to give yourself a long time of a habit to consistently show up for yourself. Eventually it gets easier. That's why so many people give up on all those self-care stuff because they're like, oh, that was crap.
But did you notice that that's happening to us? I mean, I'm not the greatest example, but look, I can talk about myself for forever, but it's not about me today. But what I'm seeing around me, that people of quite very young age, they give up on life, it looks like around me. It's everything about food and everything is about drinking and people become careless. So I'm not sure if that's a mixture of the being lonely for 2 years, the lockdowns and the people, everything else. But I'm glad that you are the one who's bringing this to us, because your life is to help other people have a better life. Looks like to me, with your actions, with your knowledge, with your experience and everything else, you try to improve other people's lives. So I'm very thankful this, Katelin. So is there anywhere else they can find you or accept your website, You Go Girlfriend?
Yeah, so they're obviously Instagram, TikTok, You Go Girlfriend, Facebook as well. Yes. But I've also got for men, I've got You Go Bro. So they
Why is this? Tell us more about this, You Go Bro. Okay, You Go Girlfriend, but You Go Bro?
Yeah.
Okay, why is that?
So obviously I was playing along the words with, I didn't want to say You Go boyfriend, that would sound a bit funny. So I was like, well, bro for brother. And I know that people call, bro.
Yeah, bro, yeah.
Yeah. So I started with that because I had men actually pestering me, being like, come on, Katelin, let's do a men version of this. I'm like, okay. I had a little bit of imposter syndrome. I was like, but I'm not a man. I don't understand.
Yeah.
So then what I've done is on Instagram is I've brought men on my Instagram lives so that they can share their story and open up because I just want men to speak up, whether it's being vulnerable, whether it's about mental health. And I found that a lot of men behind the scenes are just grateful that a woman is standing up for men because a lot of men are getting emasculated by women. And it's very overpowering at the moment because women are stuck in their masculine energy. They're belittling men. They're just speaking to them without the warmth and the feminine energy. And I know that that's what men are really struggling with. They're struggling to speak up because women are just being too much and it's overwhelming. And they're like, oh, I don't know who to talk about my problems to with. So that's why I wanted You Go Bro out there because I wanted men to know that I do have empathy for them and that I'm not just one-sided with women, that I do want to help men in any way that I can.
I'm glad that you spoke today. You know, I was like, I could hold you this for forever. So, but that's, you know, hopefully I'm going to have opportunity to have you again in the studio, Katelin, because, you know, I know that you have other obligations today. But I feel like, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of men over there who wants to answer questions. So guys, feel free to put in comment section below all your questions, ask Katelin, or go on her website, yougobro.com.au. That's correct, YouGoBro.
So at the moment, YouGoBro is just on social media.
Okay.
But yeah.
Or YouGoGirlfriend.com.au. But I put all the links on Katelin's socials. Feel free to reach Katelin. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be shy. You know what I mean? Just ask the questions. It's for your benefits. It's for your life. And, you know, your life doesn't end up with a one bad experience like my one. Where's my tissues now? Just like, you know, the point we're trying to make, I wish I met someone like you before so I can ask questions. Instead of this, you go into the people around you, ask questions who will answer you honestly, maybe just be polite. But now I can see after you clear some things out that being person and speak differently or acting differently, it's nothing wrong. Actually, you just displaying different type of energy, right? But I'm a little bit confused about this masculine energy in the women. That is something there. So, Katelin, thank you very much for being my guest today on A Life the Battlefield. Thank you for sharing with us all your insights. And guys, feel free to contact Katelin. I'm going to put in the comment section below everything. And Katelin, thank you very much for being my guest today.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Katelin.